Yes, here we are in Fortress Bangkok, Studio 2 as we call it, and as you can see I have strategically located some plants behind me to hide the refrigerator, which has been a complete failure. Anyway, in the meantime we'll just barge on. Thank you very much for joining us, and it's great to have you with us as we have a bit of a wander around some of the main news stories that I think might interest you from around Thailand and the region today. The program's called TNT. You can subscribe down below. That would really help. Let's go to our first story. And it's a reiteration from, there it is, Thai PBS World. The headline, "Foreigners infected with COVID-19 can visit Thailand." This is confirmation of a story we sort of mentioned yesterday, wading through what we thought was meant. This story is much more accurate about exactly what's going to happen. Now it says foreign visitors to Thailand who are infected with COVID-19 will no longer be barred from entering. Now, the second line there, the new measures will take effect once it's announced in the Royal Gazette. So that's only going to take a few days. Probably we're looking at this October the 1st date as the one where so many restrictions any remaining restrictions will be lifted in regards to COVID-19. So I think we can confidently say that after that date, or when this is announced in the Royal Gazette, it'll mean that you won't need your vaccination certificates to check into an airline or a negative PCR test. All that'll be gone. So I think that's what everybody's been waiting for, and it looks like this is confirmation of that. Just down the bottom, a bit clearer as to exactly what you can and can't have in the way of diseases. You still can't have leprosy, tuberculosis in a dangerous state, elephantitis with clear symptoms, third stage syphilis, and disease associated with drug abuse. Foreigners who are afflicted with these diseases or chronic alcoholism will be forbidden from taking residence in the country. So pretty much confirmation of what we said yesterday. And for those people that have been worried about either having to take a PCR test or don't want to be vaccinated for whatever reason, it looks like you'll be able to come into Thailand unhindered. To the next story today, and from ASEAN Now, a sad report from the southern part of Thailand. 1 cop killed, 4 injured by terrorist bomb set off outside a hospital in the troubled south. Now, this bomb was concealed in a roadside shack outside the Maikan Hospital in Pattani, and it exploded yesterday evening, which would have been Tuesday night. Now, the story says that 5 officers had been taken to the hospital. 1 of the police had died from shrapnel wounds. There you can see the carnage after the pickup was attacked by the roadside bomb. The story goes on to say that it was a blast involving a 20-kilogram improvised explosive device. And then the ASEAN Now story goes on to say since 2004, hundreds of police and military personnel and thousands of civilians, 60% of them Muslim, have been killed in the southern insurgency. So yes, this is some 7,000 people have been killed over the past 20 to 25 years in what's called the southern insurgency. It has been simmering though for more than 100 years. It's basically a war over real estate. It's politics, it's religion, it's right down there on the very, very southern part of the border of Thailand with Malaysia. You should be assured though that if you are a tourist and you're going down the well-beaten tracks like the main roads, the insurgents don't target these areas at all. So I suppose that gives you a little bit of comfort if you are heading down to really what is a very beautiful part of the world. And shame it's got such a sad history. And both the Malaysian and the Thai government keep trying to come up with ways of sorting this out. But the talks continue as well as the violence. You've found yourself to Tim Newton today on a little bit of a damp Thursday here as I look out my window across the skyline, although I can't see any dark clouds now and even a bit of a patch of blue. So good news for people in Bangkok today. Hope it's okay in your part of the world as well. I just wanted to thank Cap's Sandwiches in Katu. If you go into their store and say Sawadee Cap, then they'll give you a 10% discount on anything that you buy. And the sandwiches are delicious. Also, thanks to 5 Star Marine, if you'd like to make a private tour off the island of Phuket to any one of those 30 or so islands around the island. So very beautiful part of the world down there. To our next story today from the Bangkok Post, unusually wealthy senior police officers' assets are confiscated. So this is the criminal court ordering the confiscation of 136 million baht worth of assets. Just noting that 136 million baht is somewhat 4 or 5 million US dollars. So a police officer who I think earns on average around about 15,000 baht a month, amassing $4 million, 136 million baht, is doing particularly well, and you can imagine investing wisely. Let's have a look at how he's done this. So I should say the list I'm about to read out is probably good ways not to try and hide your assets. So this is what Police Lieutenant General Somchai did. He put his money into a house in Hua Hin, a special savings account with the Chumphon Police Savings Cooperative, 2 million baht worth of shares in the Chumphon Police Savings Cooperative. And then he also had his wife and his daughter. He obviously gave money to them to hide. 2 blocks of land each with a commercial building, a condominium, 2 savings accounts with the Chumphon Police Savings Cooperative, and then down the bottom, the right to demand repayment of a 2.1 million baht debt from a debtor. I'm not sure if you can use owed debts as a list of your assets, but anyway, they did. So it looks like that policeman might be seeing the prison bars from the opposite side of the bars, and he wasn't very, very clever at hiding his assets. To our next story today from the Bangkok Post, and the new governor backs 4 a.m. closing, and he's pushing for entertainment venues staying open until 4 a.m. in order to promote nighttime tourism. He says that tourism, including the hotel segment, is at the heart of the city's economy as the sector creates jobs and pays taxes for the city. He said he's concerned about delays in hotel licensing approvals. He also noted that there were a number of obstacles for the hotel sector, noting that hotels are charged a land tax of 0.3% and the rate for monthly accommodation operators is only 0.02%. That's things like Airbnb. And down the bottom there, he's also saying overpriced food and tuk-tuk transport are other areas of concern. Well, there have been areas of concern for the past 40 years. Depending on where you are in the city, you can either get a pad thai for 40 baht, or if you're shopping along the Sukhumvit strip, you might be paying up to 140 baht or more for exactly the same meal. He says that labour shortages have been a critical issue for hoteliers, and that the latest confidence index shows that 43% of hotel operators are preoccupied with this problem. Seems to be a problem right around the country when it comes to hoteliers trying to find staff. He says in the upcoming years, Bangkok would embark on collaborative projects with the Italian city of Venice for cultural exchanges and sharing knowledge about water management. Well, that's probably a very good idea. Then down the bottom, one of Mr. Chadchart's goals is making Bangkok one of the world's top 50 livable cities during his 4-year term. That would be up from number 98 at the present. Let's check our next story now, and it says that the weak baht takes centre stage. Now, this has been in the news a lot in the last 3 or 4 months. People saying, oh, the baht's tanking and the baht's weak. Well, let's have a look at this. The second paragraph in this Bangkok Post story says that the depreciating currency has added to inflationary pressures, thus necessitating an examination into whether the declining value of the baht is linked to the country's economic fundamentals or external factors including the fast strengthening greenback. Well, yes, it's the fast strengthening greenback, almost absolutely. Now, as to why the US dollar is surging so much, well, that's up to much smarter people than me and economists to figure out. But I can say that if you want to compare the Thai Baht to the pound, to the euro, to the Australian dollar, for example, and lots of other currencies, there's been very, very little change. I mean, little change over the past year. So it's only weakening against the US dollar, and I wish they would mention that in their headlines. Thai PBS World says Thai Cabinet approves 45-day stay for tourists entitled to visa exemption and 30 days with visa on arrival. This is something that's been floating around for the past month, but was proposed by the CCSA and, of course, the TAT and other tourism bodies, but now it's been approved by Cabinet and has to get the tick from the Royal Gazette, but it's happening. So the Cabinet has approved the people on a visa exemption, an automatic stamp for 30 to 45 days, and that's for tourists from countries and territories. I think there's 64 on the list. I'll try and find that list and put it in the description underneath for you. And then for people with visa on arrival, that'll be extended from 15 to 30 days. The second paragraph says the extension is, however, only temporary, starts October the 1st, and it will go till the end of March next year to coincide with the traditionally tourism high season in Thailand. And noting, though, that most foreign arrivals at the moment are from Malaysia and India. Now, a lot of people have been writing to me saying, can you tell us if I want to extend my visa? Now, it has been extended from 30 to 45 days for people on the visa exemption and 15 to 30 days for people on visa on arrival. So can you go and get that extended? I haven't been able to see any confirmation on that, but the general mood of the meeting suggests that you'll only be able to get a 30-day extension if you're on the 45-day stay, and another 15 days if you're on the 30-day visa on arrival. So that's the way I understand it. It's not confirmed, but that seems to be the general mood of the meeting as I've read it. And from Nation Thailand today, going against all odds, Thai Cave Rescue Limited series, and I just absolutely love this first paragraph. They've got out their thesaurus and they've gone hard. Revisit the rescue mission that kept people around the world on their toes, noting that every word has got a capital letter at the start of it. Thai Cave Rescue Limited series tells the story of grit and gumption of humanity uniting in a battle of wits against powerful nature to pull off the sensational rescue. Doesn't that make you feel better, having read all that? So this is basically a new Netflix series, and this is a promotion for it. Now, let's see what's going to happen with this. I'm not going to bother reading the story. Thai Cave Rescue, it's a limited series, and it's going to be viewing in over 190 countries. There's only 195 countries, so I'm not exactly sure who the 5 are that are missing out. Hope you're not one of them. But it's going to be airing from September the 22nd, which of course is today. Now, I understand that the series is actually very good. It's in Thai, but of course you can turn on the subtitles. And I believe it also includes interviews with some of the young boys who are stuck in the cave, and of course their 25-year-old coach Ekapop. So I'll be tuning in and checking that out and seeing if there's some additional insights as to what they were thinking whilst they were stuck in there in the pitch black for 10 days. So it should be good stuff. And this from the Straits Times, a regional story. China says it has patience needed to bring Taiwan under control. China says it has the patience to someday bring Taiwan under its control, partly because compatriots there want it to happen. A view that contrasts with polls showing sceptical views of Beijing. And it says, with regards to resolving the Taiwan question and realising the complete unification of China, we have strategic composure and historic patience. And we're also full of confidence. That's an official from the Chinese government speaking yesterday. He added that the vast majority of Taiwan people oppose independence. Doesn't seem to be the way that I read it from Taiwan. A survey in August that was commissioned by the Taiwan government found some 2/3 of respondents saw Beijing as unfriendly to them, the highest level in more than 2 decades. So what he thinks the poll says and what the Taiwanese people think the poll says are 2 totally different things. Last week, Taiwan accused China of bullying a beauty pageant contestant from the island after she was unable to appear on stage at an event in Malaysia. And the third paragraph there, China's leader, who's now 69, may spell out his plans for Taiwan at a key congress of the ruling Communist Party, and that's going to be on October the 16th, when he's expected to secure a precedent-breaking third term in power. And that Chinese spokesperson saying it's a historic trend that no one will be able to stop. Let's see what Reuters have written about this. And of course, Taiwan responding to these comments made in China yesterday. Taiwan denounces China's peaceful reunification pledge, saying that Taiwan will never allow China to meddle in its future, the government said yesterday, after Beijing was willing to make the utmost effort to strive for a peaceful reunification. And China has proposed a one country, two systems model for Taiwan, similar to the formula under which the former British colony of Hong Kong returned to Chinese rule in 1997. That all started out well, but it's gone a bit south since then. All mainstream Taiwanese political parties have rejected the proposal, and it has almost no public support according to opinion polls, especially after Beijing imposed a national security law on Hong Kong in 2020 after the city was rocked by sometimes violent anti-government and anti-China protests. So the Chinese seem they're happy to sit it out and wait as long as they need to, and the Taiwanese saying it's just not going to happen. And hopefully you're a little bit more up to date with the main stories from around Thailand. And just noting that after October the 1st, for those people that have been keen to know, it looks like you'll just be able to wander back into Thailand with your passport in one hand and a change of clothes in the other. So probably about as normal as we're going to get as far as tourist arrivals back into the country. With that, thank you very much for joining in, and I look forward to reading your comments on the program, and we'll do it all again tomorrow.